I'm Natalie.
And I'm Tara.
We're with Discover Ag.
And you're listening to Like a Farmer.
Hey, y'all, it's Pat. Welcome to another episode of Like a Farmer. We are live here in Las Vegas at Cowboy Christmas at the one and only Ag Gear booth. Today's episode, this is going to be my favorite. My two favorite ladies, Miss Natalie, Miss Tara. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
We're excited.
What an intro.
It's like, I'm not even kidding. I've been waiting for this episode for a long time.
We have too.
Have y'all? Or are you just saying that?
No.
No. We would never lie to you.
Okay, good.
We're matching your energy.
Let's start with Vegas. How about that? This is I'm not going to lie, my first time in Vegas. How many times for you, Tara?
Your first time ever in Vegas?
Ever in Vegas, yeah.
Tara's shocked.
Oh my gosh, I am shocked.
I know.
I have no idea. 12 times?
3 or 4.
And
Only NFR. I've only been to Vegas for NFR. Actually, no. One time when I was younger. College years I came.
So I went to a school in Arizona, so it was
Okay.
like a hop, skip, and a jump. It was an $80 Southwest flight here. So my senior year, I think we came 4 times.
golly, you're like
Yeah.
you're a veteran.
She spent a lot of time studying.
I studied really hard.
I love that. We joke about it because it's like, and this is what I've been told, it's like every time you leave Vegas, you feel like you need an emotional support person on the flight home. But I have a long flight home. I'm going back to Tampa. Y'all don't have, you're going to,
Albuquerque. I have like an
Yeah.
hour and a half flight.
and then yours
Nebraska.
is, yeah.
Yeah. I do love Vegas during NFR, though. It's a different vibe. You're with your people. You walk around. The casinos are filled with cowboy hats. Like, it's a very different feel, I think, than being in Vegas at other times, having only been one other time to compare it to.
Absolutely, and we talked about this yesterday. It's like you look around, and it's fine. It's what y'all are doing with y'all's show. I'm doing my show. We are celebrating a lifestyle that we like to call rural America lifestyle, where everybody's wearing cowboy hats, cowboy boots, everybody's driving a pickup truck, listening to country music. You come to Vegas these 2 weeks, and that's what everybody's doing. And it's so cool to see that you can still come out here and people want to be in this lifestyle, because I can promise you there's some people out here that aren't full-time farmers like yourselves, but they want to be associated with that lifestyle. Like, that should make you feel good.
Yeah, I think what else is crazy is it makes you realize how small like our world is. Like, you will be walking down like the strip and be like, oh, there's so-and-so. Last night I met someone at a random casino and his girlfriend was from the same hometown as me. And I was like, that's so random. Like, super, super small town in the middle of New Mexico. And like, that's wild that we all end up here in Vegas together.
It's also been fun. I would say over 50% of the cab rides we've been in, the cab drivers have expressed how sad they are to see the Cowboys leave. They have specifically mentioned how much they enjoy the people that come to town with the NFR, the way they act, their mannerisms, what they care about, and it's been really cool. Like, that's the first time, at least the time I've been here for NFR that I've like had those conversations and heard people like have such high admiration and respect for the people that come into town for NFR.
We heard that Cowboys love to party, they love to spend money, and they don't cause trouble.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is like so well said, you know? Like,
I think it might be the safest place in the world, these 2 weeks in Vegas with everybody here. I'm not even kidding.
That's very true. Good point.
Discover Ag. Can I even, I don't even know if I know this, honestly. Like, how did that even start?
Oh my gosh, our origin story is kind of crazy. I obviously live in New Mexico and Natalie lives in Nebraska, and we do run our business through voice memos on our phone, 1,000 miles apart. But we knew each other online. Both of us started sharing like our farm and ranch stories years ago when there wasn't a lot of women in ag sharing online. We're going to date ourselves, but it's been, 7-10 years respectively for us since we started sharing, and we connected in DMs. I slid into her DMs. So classic millennial friendship.
Yeah, and then from there, I think we just realized we had like similar missions with what we wanted to do with the online space. Originally we had started kind of sharing our families and different perspectives about, the agriculture industry as a whole, kind of advocating for it, sharing. Tara did a lot in like dairy sustainability. I obviously did a lot with like beef cattle ranching, and just kind of the agriculture world from that aspect, kind of Western world. Beyond that, though, we realized we kind of had this shared mission of what Discover Ag is, like that meld of pop culture, that, kind of female twist to agriculture, that millennial twist. When we realized we had that in common and that's how we wanted to like package agriculture, Discover came like really quickly after it.
Y'all do an awesome job, and I've told y'all this before, like females in agriculture is so important, and it's a hot topic, and y'all being full-time farmers, owning this podcast together, it's really cool. What do y'all think about this new wave of social media and agriculture. I mean, because we've talked about it before. I think some of the farmers and ranchers out there are the most awesome influencers, content creators out there. Like, what are y'all's thoughts on kind of the transition and the trajectory that these is going?
Yeah, I think we're in a really exciting time. I have felt this way since like before COVID.
We've called it.
We called it.
We're calling it.
I mean, I'm
we,
just
we
gonna
have
say
it. We had a fortune ball, and we were like,
that agriculture was going to be cool again, and farming and ranching, and like you can feel it. Like you can just feel. I feel like you can feel the energy here this week. Even like you just think, label it the Yellowstone effect. I've heard that several times. Like there is this movement from Yellowstone, Western culture, but then food. I think with COVID, there was a lot of people that were like, where does my food come from? Why don't I know more about the supply chain? And it just like opened up the floodgates of people being curious. And so I think for anyone in ag, in the social media space, it is like such an exciting time to be a part of.
Yeah, that's something we've talked about on the podcast a lot, actually, is how it did kind of start with like Western culture kind of trending and going mainstream, but now it is like ebbing over into like actual production agriculture going mainstream. And as Tara just mentioned, like food production going mainstream, it's going beyond the Yellowstone lore, which I think is really, really cool. That didn't like stop there. It's carrying over to like the core, the roots of what our world is.
Yeah, I think, COVID comes and you start having more hobby farmers. Mm-hmm. People like, I just want to get out of the city. I want to be able to breathe a little bit. Let me go buy 5, 10, 15, 20 acres. Well, then they end up buying a pickup truck, and then they end up listening to country music. And then
yeah, that pickup truck, it's like the gateway drug, It
is. And then every year it just gets a little bit higher with the lift. And then they got cowboy boots on. And you just have to adapt to it because we need that in this world. I mean, we have to continue to do a better job with the exposure because people want to be let in. Let's let them in. I'm fine with it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually yesterday we did an interview with the marketing director for Boot Barn. And it was a very interesting conversation. She was someone who was not involved in ag at all. And she said that when she came in, there was a lot of times that were cringe for her. She did some dumb things. She said some dumb stuff. And she said overall, she was welcomed with open arms. And I was so happy to hear that we didn't like turn her away,
I love that. What do you think? I mean, y'all do such a great job on the social media space. What are some hot trending items that y'all have put out that really have gained a lot of traction?
Oh my gosh, that is like such a good question. What's cool about our podcast is every week is so different with covering like 3 articles.
Yeah, we're covering the news.
Yeah.
So it's like...
And it's crazy how like just such a different pieces will take off. Like I mean, I'm in dairy, so obviously milk is near and dear to my heart, as Natalie likes to tease me about. But like the raw milk trend we're seeing is crazy. Like I never thought I would say the word raw milk so many times in my adult life to people that are not in dairy. Like it's like everyone's talking about it. Every health and wellness influencer is talking about how they're putting beef tallow on their face and they're drinking raw milk for breakfast and they're eating a steak for dinner. And I'm like, I cannot believe the same women who were vegan 5 years ago are now like almost full carnivore.
We just on the podcast 2 weeks ago, we tried bone broth hot chocolate because that's going viral on TikTok right now, is bone broth hot chocolate. And I was like, never in a world did I think I would live where bone broth hot chocolate is trending on TikTok with like mainstream wellness influencers.
And most of the time, if you're not educated in this space, there's still people that think chocolate milk comes from a brown cow.
My 7-year-old actually loves to encourage that myth. She will tell people it's true. And I'm like, they're going to believe. You're a dairy farmer's kid. They're probably going to believe you. And she'll be like, did you know that chocolate milk comes from brown cows? I'm like, you have to stop. She's spreading misinformation, and someone needs to get it under control.
That's awesome. Well, so while we're on that, New Mexico dairy farmer, is that multi-generational?
Yeah, so I'm a 5th generation dairy farmer. Grew up on my family's dairy in New Mexico my whole life. I've been in 2 different locations in New Mexico, but always New Mexico is so near and dear to my heart. And then as life would have it, and I'm like a total cliche, went away to college, to out-of-state college, only to come back and marry the dairy farmer's son down the road, who's also a 5th generation dairy farmer. So that's where we're at.
It's a true love story right there.
True love story. I've known him since I was 3, he was 5. And that's just the story.
I love that. And then Nebraska.
Yep. I originally grew up in Montana, though.
Okay.
Yep. So I grew up on a cattle ranch in Montana. Did not see myself remaining in agriculture. I mean, I lived near our family ranch, spent a lot of time there, but I got my degree in pharmacy. So I was, practicing as a full-time clinical pharmacist. And then I met my husband, who was ranching in Nebraska, and that's what brought brought me obviously physically to Nebraska, but also kind of brought me full circle back to like living on a ranch, like owning a ranch, just production agriculture kind of at its core.
That's one thing that we didn't talk about in our story, that both Natalie and I left the ranch, got degrees. Obviously, Natalie got it in pharmacy. I got my degree in environmental science. Both of us didn't see ourselves coming back to production agriculture in any way. And I think that was maybe one of the things that brought us together as well, because we saw ag, I think, in a different light.
We're like, oh, you were a dummy too.
Yeah. You went and got a science degree, spent all this time. Natalie spent way more time than me getting pharmacy. But nonetheless, and then, yeah, here we are, back in agriculture.
What, and just getting to know y'all these last few months, y'all do such a great job, not only in your job and running farms, but even as family and wives and moms. Like, I truly want to say y'all do a great job in doing that.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
The lifestyle makes it easy, honestly. You know,
Yeah.
like it lays really great groundwork opportunities to raise your kids in that fashion.
Well, then on the content, the social media side, and the show, it's just easy because all you have to do is pick up your phone and record. There's nothing fake about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a full-time farmer and rancher's like, this is just life. I'm just giving you the lens of it.
I honestly think that's the only way I convinced my husband to kind of dip his toes into like this social media world with me, is because it was just us going out as a family and shoring. Like, we weren't, you know, quote unquote, like acting or filming or creating anything. It was just capturing. You know, that's just what I was doing. It was just capturing what was already taking place. And I think if I had to, you know, there's a lot of people who obviously kind of not stage their content, but it's like you're sitting down and like creating it.
Well, you think about a lifestyle influencer who probably took her Christmas photos in October, right?
Yeah.
Like, there is some staging going on there, and it's totally different. For
Yeah,
her
and if
content.
I think if that had to, you know, if I had gone to my husband and been like, this is kind of what I want to do, and it involved that kind of effort or lift or, you know, like creation around it, I don't know if it would have gone as well. But it was basically like, I'm just going to hop in the Ranger with you. I'm just going to hop in the feed truck with you. I'm just going to hop in the tractor with you. And all that's going to be different is that my phone is going to be up, but everything else, you know,
remains the same.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And at what point for each of y'all was like the first day of, hey, let me just record this and see what happens?
Yeah, so I had a really distinct day. I had been like kind of thinking about it and talking with some of like our checkoff within dairy about what I wanted to do. And then, as you know, like Mother Nature would have it, we actually had a massive blizzard, like a once in a lifetime blizzard. I mean, I live in New Mexico. We don't have blizzards. We had a blizzard. And I posted something on Facebook and on my personal page, and it went viral. And I kind of was like, sink or swim. And by the end of the day, I had a website, I had a blog, which definitely dates me. I did not even have social media. I had a blog. Yeah, you're laughing. I'm so old.
Tell them what you made your logo on.
I made it on like Paint. Natalie doesn't know what Paint is.
I don't. But
I literally.
is the
is that
perfect
the app
reaction.
that just automatically
It was not an
shows up?
app. It's just a program, pre-programmed into a computer.
Yeah.
I wish
that
it was
you don't
an
even
app.
have to program it. Just like
No,
when
it's
you
just
buy
there.
it, it's
You
there,
buy it
yeah.
and you get Paint.
It's like the calculator.
Yeah.
It was that. So I created a logo on that, but it was just kind of one of those moments where it was a ton of national attention. We lost a lot of cattle. It was like a really hard time in the industry.
She's like, I capitalized
and
off destruction.
I capitalized off of it and was like, I'm willing to do an interview. And so I did a ton of interviews, a ton of like national press, and it really was like, felt a little bit like being thrown to the wolves, because there was a lot of activist conversation around it, because, you know, with cattle dying, activists love to jump on that conversation. And it taught me a lot. In a week, I was like, wow, okay, I feel like a different person than I was a week ago. And then from there, it just was like a snowball, you know, it just kept accumulating, building, and just turning into what we have now.
That's awesome.
It's so funny. I've heard you talk about that before, but it's been so long that I've heard you talk about that story.
It's been a long time since it's happened, too, Natalie.
Mine was very different, my introduction to social media. When I moved down to Nebraska after I got married, we ranch outside of a pretty small community. It's 2,000 people. I'm about an hour and a half from a Walmart or Target. I'm about 3 hours from like a Whole Foods, you know, Costco, anything of that level of brand. So our small town is pretty self-sufficient, just because you don't go quite distance for certain things. So we do have a critical access hospital that I worked at for a little bit, and we have 2 independent small pharmacies there, but turnover isn't rapid, right? So when I moved down there weren't any pharmacist positions. And my husband and I had the conversation. We knew that a 3-hour round trip for me to commute somewhere to work as a pharmacist wasn't, part of our family story. It just wasn't how we wanted to spend my time on the road with littles and family and children. So I ended up starting a direct-to-consumer beef business, and that's what I use social media for, because I was like, well, if I'm going to get strangers to buy our beef, I've got to find strangers online somewhere to do it. And I did that for 2 years, and that's where I really learned, like, storytelling with social media. I really saw social media as a marketing tool. I was like, wow, there's something very, very powerful here. And that's also when it clicked in my brain, like I could do this for a business, I could sell beef, or I could do it for ourselves and a story around agriculture. And so I ended up pivoting after 2 years of the direct consumer beef business. I ended up pivoting to kind of sharing our family, and that's when like Tara and I connected, and then it just, as Tara said, kind of snowballed into Discover Ag.
Isn't it funny, we're the generation that grew up being like told don't talk to strangers, and then now we're like, let's talk to all the strangers on the internet we can find.
Social media is the most important tool right now in agriculture as a whole. And I use the example of, and this is a opinion, like I think more and more farms and ranches are going to go direct to consumer, specifically on the beef side.
Yeah.
I just do. And if you do that, what's the number one thing you have to be great at? It's marketing. Well, what's the number one tool for marketing? It's social media. You have to now build a brand and then get that brand out there.
Yeah. I mean, direct-to-consumer business is very, very challenging. So I think it's a trend. I'll like agree with your statement a little bit. But I think, you know, what I learned from it is geographically plays a very big role. I mean, again, I wanted to hit a good farmer's market, I was 3 hours from it, which meant a 6-hour round trip of how I spend my Saturday. So I think the East Coast is really positioned very uniquely when it comes to consumer connection for farms and ranches, a little bit different than when you get into, you know, some of the Midwest and like different areas. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, direct to consumer, you know, we talked about it on our podcast actually, like, you know, McDonald's suing the big, you know, the Packers. Like there's a monopoly. The industry is like really trying to get a hold of it. I think it's at a movement it hasn't been before. So I do think direct consumer is growing, but I think there are barriers to it that you don't really realize until you start going down that path where you're, as a rancher, where you're like, wow, this is maybe a little bit more difficult than I realized, which is why I always tell consumers, if anyone's listening in that is a consumer that buys direct consumer beef, thank you so much, because ranches that are trying to make that...
I love that. That's why I need a co-host on my show.
She just fixed my hair. Ranches that are trying to make that part of their income stream and the way they structure their operations, to support that is a very, very big deal.
Yeah.
I think you're spot on that. What is like, when you think about social media, now that we're on this topic, and keep in mind, social media has changed now too. I mean, I'm curious y'all's opinion. I think TikTok might even be more of the more popular, powerful one and easier to go viral, right? I mean, what have y'all seen in the social media space?
I mean, I've been sharing so long that we didn't even have Reels on Instagram or Stories.
Or even Instagram, right?
Or Instagram. That's a good
Tara's
point.
like on AIM doing AOL.
AOL, yeah. She's like,
I'm like, do you want to know my handle on AOL? No, it is. I don't even remember your question. Oh, yeah, it's TikTok. No, this is something Natalie and I have been talking. We both, I feel like, have not gone all in on TikTok, and we keep talking about it's a powerhouse. There's so much opportunity for growth there still. I mean, there is opportunity for growth on all platforms, but TikTok is crazy what it can do and how quickly it can.
Yeah, I mean, they have different algorithms that are built for it.
Totally.
And TikTok is definitely for virality exposure, whereas I feel like it's a little bit less about the community aspect, which I feel like Instagram is still rooted in a lot of community. I joined X last year. I'm like, what,
She's
20 years late to that platform, and I'm just kicking myself. I never joined earlier. I love X. I'm obsessed with X.
Elaborate on that. Why?
It's just, for me, it's very fun. I think, you know, on Instagram, which has always been my main platform, I, you know, share from, I guess, like a family perspective. So a lot of my content, I don't want to say it's like wholesome, but it's definitely like a mother hat I wear kind of content. You know, I'm advocating for the industry, so I feel like sometimes it's a little more like a professional side of me. Whereas on X, I feel like I can bring like my sarcasm, I can bring my snark, I can like have conversations, which is what I really love about the platform. I feel like you get on X and people want to have a conversation back and forth. They want to be challenged. And if you can handle that, it's the platform for you. If you want to put something out and have everyone agree with you and just be applauded, not the platform for you. But if you want to have intelligent conversations, learn different things, get different like perspectives and aspects, I love X. I love to find a good thread and just go down it and see like what people say, what they're fighting about. Like I love X.
I have a fun thing on our podcast that I turned our podcast into a drinking game, that every time Natalie says she read something on X, we have to take a shot.
And every time Tara talks about dairy, we take a shot. So we're real toasted by the end of it, because all we talk about is dairy and X. No.
I love that. And You mentioned something earlier, and you're spot on, because I remember being raised in a multi-generational farming family of like, hey, put the technology down, go play outside, go work on the farm. Well, now I'm over here advocating like we need to pick up the phone and like expose what we're doing and like truly show people what agriculture is. Where do you see that? It's going to continue to go that way, right? You would think.
Yeah, actually, Natalie and I talk a lot about our kids on social media. Natalie obviously has a teenage son, and then we have ones going down from there. And it's like, in my mind, I'm like, I want them to like know how to use social media as like a tool and technology as a tool without it being obviously like a time suck and the negativity. I mean, I have girls, so I think about like the bullying and things that like happen on there. And so it's a tough, I think, road to walk. And it's not like you can ask your parents for advice, right? Like if I didn't know what was like, if my kid had an ear infection, I could call my mom and be like, what'd you do? I can't call my mom and be like, so how did you handle us getting social media at 10 years old? And like kids in the class already having a cell phone or, things like that. And so it is like a totally like uncharted territory, I think, for a lot of people. And I think we're seeing changes. Like I felt like a few years back, it seemed like a lot of kids pretty young were getting social media, and a lot more parents are having conversation that's like, no, not till 16, not till 18. And I think I appreciate that a little, because I think it'll make it easier for the parents that want to say no if there's like, oh, there's other kids in the class that don't have it either.
Florida just put a ban on it that I think goes into, I'd have to get a fact check on that. I think it starts maybe January. Under 14, absolutely no. 14 and 15 have to have parental consent. So like now, Florida, if you're not 16, you cannot have social media on your own.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there was like a guinea pig generation. Like as Tara said, it was new for the kids and it was new for the parents. And so you had two people coming into it that were like, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know the effects. We don't know how they will react. I was kind of on like a little bit a part of that. And as Tara said, it was challenging because I didn't have anyone. I didn't even have social, there wasn't social media. I didn't even have a phone in high school. So I couldn't even go back to like what
age did you get your phone?
I had my senior year, the second half of my senior year, I got my first phone.
I was 16.
But
I had a totally different thing.
Yeah.
I got my first cell phone at 13, and then I realized what Facebook was and how cool it was going to be, and I made a fake college email so that I could get Facebook.
Tara will weasel her way into anything.
Hey y'all, it's Pat with Like a Farmer. Are you looking to add some local flavors to your recipes? Well, visit freshfromflorida.com today, where you can browse hundreds of delicious recipes that bring Florida freshness to your table all year round. Become a Fresh from Florida member for free and create your own menus. Save and send your favorite dishes and get exclusive access to monthly newsletters packed with fresh local recipes. I can promise you, you will be a favorite in your neighborhood. From the Florida fields to your fork, year-round freshness and flavor are just a logo away. Fresh from Florida, there's a sunshine in every bite. Hey y'all, today's episode is brought to you by AgAmerica, your go-to financial partner for all things agriculture. As the largest independent financial firm dedicated to rural America, AgAmerica is changing the game when it comes to ag lending and leveling up finance options for farmers, ranchers, and landowners across the nation. And I'll let you know a little secret. The thing that sets this company apart from the rest is the people. They understand firsthand the unique needs of American farmers and ranchers because many of them grew up on farms themselves. They take a farmer-focused approach to finance, prioritizing relationships over transactions to help you build a stronger financial foundation for you and your family. So whether you're looking to buy land or secure working capital, AgAmerica has your back. Visit agamerica.com today to learn more and see how they can help you achieve long-term financial success. Because when farmers thrive, we all do.
I want to talk about this question, though, actually from the industry standard, though, because I think it brings up an interesting conversation that people may have different feelings about within the industry. For so long, we have been telling farmers and ranchers, like, get online, tell your story, we need to connect. Like, that's what we've been asking for, right, is to bridge that gap between, like, consumers and producers. And so as you kind of said at the beginning of this podcast, like, social media is an absolute gift that, like, just dropped down from heaven in the palm of our hand, free. You can reach 1 million people from the seat of, like, your tractor, from the saddle, like, you out on horseback. You can reach millions of people for free, and you get to control the message. It's not going through someone else, right? Like, never before has agriculture been handed a marketing tool in that fact. Like, if we were to tell our grandparents, like, this is how we can talk about our cattle or our farms or ranches, I don't know if they believe that. They'd be like, you can do all that for free without leaving your ranch? Like, that's amazing, right? But on the other flip side, I'm like, how far back do we pull back, you know, the curtain of the industry, right? Like, how much is sharing too much? Like, you can see topics go viral online where I'm like, I think that did more harm for our industry than probably benefit, because I believe personally there are certain things about our lifestyle in production agriculture, in the Western culture, that you don't necessarily truly understand until you are a part of it. And as much as you could give the information, package it, talk about it, someone may just not grasp it in the way they would if their boots are on the ground. And so sometimes I'm like, where is that line of like, yes, we want to welcome people in. Yes, we need to connect. Like, yes, we need this transparency in these conversations. But like, where is the line that you cross where you're like, too much, you know?
I totally agree. And I like what you just said. Social media is free. You get to reach millions of people, and you get to direct the message, and it's not regulated. It's new media.
Yeah.
I'm not sure anybody believes 80% of anything that mainstream media is saying, and I don't care if it's Fox, CNN, whoever you're voting for. Number one, agriculture is not talked about any of those on any of those damn networks.
Well, not until we get rolling,
That's correct. I'm looking forward to talking about that too. But it's like, that's what new media is, and there's nobody in this space doing that, and we've got to continue to share that message.
So I was just listening to Mike Rowe was guesting on the Joe Rogan podcast, and they were talking about this, and Joe Rogan was saying that exactly what you said. He teed up the conversation by saying, like, no one is believing mainstream media anymore. He said, I personally, that's not how I want to get my news. I don't want to turn on a channel and have one person, one organization tell me the fact, and then I go home and that's what I believe. He said, and this is why I also like X and why I think it's like going to maintain as a platform either in growth or popularity. He said, I love to get on X. I want someone to put out a piece of information, whether it's true or false. And he said, I want all the experts to come. I want all the non-experts to come, and I want a conversation. And then he personally said, I have half a brain where I can read through it and understand, oh, that person who made the original post was wrong. That is false news because I have 15 scientists here underword, or whatever the experts are under it, calling them out, giving me my points, making me understand it. And now I personally just made my own informed opinion based on, it could have been false news that broke, but you have the people coming to have the conversation, and that's the most important part.
I think, to play devil's advocate, though, I think the issue with that, and we saw it this week,
we just talked about it on our podcast,
is right now Bovaer went viral on X, and it's a feed additive into cattle feed that'll reduce methane output from
in dairy cattle.
And in beef cattle. Don't even get us started on what is better, beef or dairy. I'm both beef and dairy, so there you go. But no, this is one of those instances, though, where it went absolutely viral with misinformation. Tons of scientists have come out and been like, this is not the case. Like, no, if you don't like the additive, fine, don't like it, but don't spread the misinformation. And so I'm like, you said that Joe Rogan said I have half a brain to figure it out. And I'm like, does everyone have enough of a brain to figure it out? I'm not entirely sure.
We did have that conversation last week.
It is a tool, and the age thing I do get. I do think they need to continue to make sure, if they are younger, to have some sort of parental control, because I tell you what, that Jackson.
Oh, we love him.
We just covered him on the podcast.
That Jackson
so we have
kid. Yeah. And he's and I'm telling you, I love having phone calls with him. We talk probably every other week, once a month, and I just love him. He needs to be in a spotlight.
Yeah. It's just so crazy to me when you hear him talk. I joked on the podcast that I wish I loved anything as much as Jackson loves John Deere, because he is just so passionate, and he's on fire. I love him. We need 7,000 of him running around.
I'm going to read a little quote. So on our podcast, as we've kind of alluded to before, we break the news. Every week we're covering the top 3 trending topics in the ag and food space and Western culture, and so it's very much so like a news podcast given from 2 female millennial farmers and ranchers. And we started a new segment because lots of times we'll cover the news and then there'll be an update on it or something will happen, right? And we are like, oh gosh, do we recover it? We kind of already touched on it. We never knew how to work it in. And we just started kind of a new segment where we're debriefing like an old news topic we covered. And Jackson was ours this week because we originally covered him with the whole kind of John Deere mishap when he missed out on the chief tractor officer position, but they just announced they're going to work with him, and we were talking about it. And I want to read the quote in the article because it's so cool. It's just a little shout out to him, but he said, "Farming is really cool, and I want to show other kids my age why they should get into farming too, and show farmers of all ages why they should take the time to teach us younger ones." Go Jackson.
Go Jackson. I said Jackson for president.
Oh, he came on my show. This was probably a couple months ago. I went to his farm in Indiana. It was probably one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
And number-wise, it might be number one on my platform.
Oh, I love that.
He's so beloved. I
He
mean,
is
what's
so
not to
beloved.
love about
Yeah.
Jackson, right?
What's not to love?
Yeah.
We play a game on this show.
Okay.
Can we play a game?
Yeah.
Sure, I'm a little nervous, but yes.
Okay, this game is called Give 'em the Boot, presented by Tecovas. There's 4 questions, and y'all each are going to get 2 of them, but you have the opportunity to give one of them the boot if you'd like, okay?
Okay.
So you don't, I'm going to do it in my Tecovas hat. Tara, we'll start with you.
It'd be fun to
Okay.
see if I could answer for you. How well do I know you?
Oh.
Question number 1, give 'em the boot.
Dream sponsorship for your show.
Oh, that's so funny.
Well, actually, we've been talking about it this week, and since this is Give 'em the Boot, we've been talking about Tecovas.
I love that. Okay, there you go. Love that.
We're definitely not giving that one the boot.
No, not giving that one the boot.
That's awesome. Shout out to Tecovas. Wow.
Shout out to Tecovas.
Question number 2.
I'm curious what you would have answered that one.
If you could be anyone for one day, who would it be? Do you know who I would be?
No, I thought it was going in a different direction of who you'd want to hang out with for a day,
Oh.
and I can answer that one.
Yeah.
Who you want to be?
I would be Mike Rowe's assistant.
my
I'd
gosh,
hang
of
out with
course.
him, and I would film dirty jobs with Mike Rowe. That's what I would do
She
for the day.
also loves Mike Rowe.
What's that about? Because you've talked about Mike
Yeah,
Rowe
I
a
don't
lot.
love him.
And I even know that.
I
You do love
admire him.
She says this every time. I'm not obsessed
He's
with him.
one day he's gonna come across an episode and he's gonna think I'm a crazy, fandom.
Psycho stalker.
No, I just really admire him. I think what he has done for blue collar kind of industry is what Tara and I want to do for agriculture, right? He brought it mainstream. He packaged in a way people not only understood and wanted, but like craved, right? They were absolutely tuned into him. And he's done it while staying true to himself. Like
Yeah.
he is absolutely just Mike Rowe at the start of the day and Mike Rowe at the end of the day. And I think that's very admirable. Like the love he has for that industry is the love we have for agriculture. And I'd love to follow in his footprints.
I also
footsteps.
think on some level, like blue collar, he's like, how do I made it like admirable again,
Yeah.
and like it raised it on like a pedestal. Can't think of the word I'm thinking of, but like I feel that way about agriculture too. I think there is this like misconception that like farmers, actually Mike Rowe said this which is ironic.
I
that,
think
like,
y'all both love Mike.
Maybe
Let's
we
not
do.
just put it all at Natalie, okay?
I just have to come along. I'm like, I have to love him now too. But he was like, why do we always picture farmers as like dirty and grungy and like not smart? And I just think that is so true of like all blue collar jobs. Like just because you're choosing to like get your hands dirty, like you could be an extremely like professional person. And so I do love that mission of his.
There you go. Shout out Mike.
Oh my gosh. Am I going to have to give this one the boot? Let's see. Oh, what is your favorite thing about your co-host?
Oh, do tell me. She's like, the boot. I don't want to
Yeah,
answer this
I'm
one.
gonna give this one the
I'm
boot.
booting that one. I can't think of a single thing.
Yeah, wow. It's a real head scratcher.
Oh my gosh, there are so many things I love about Natalie. It's funny. I feel like our friendship came at like a perfect time in both of our lives that I just never would have guessed someone that lives this far away I would spend this much time with. But what do I love about you? I think probably an overarching, I love like your creative side, but it's more than that. I love in our partnership and business how we allow each other to thrive in our space that we thrive in. I am not a creative person. We joked with you earlier that if you need us to be at a booth at a time, you need to text me and not Natalie. If you need us to film content, it needs to be cool. Please text Natalie about that.
Yeah, please do.
Please do. Don't. I'll be like, do you want to just, here, I'll take a picture. There you go. Throw it on the internet. But I love that we allow each other to thrive. And yeah, I love you.
Oh, that was nice.
Thanks. I
Good
tried.
job.
I wanted to boot it, but felt like I couldn't.
I bet I have the same question. Oh, no. What? Oh, we are lucky Tara did not get this one.
no.
I'm just gonna. What is your craziest Vegas story?
I am so glad.
Yeah,
That
we
one got
really,
put away.
we really lucked out there,
Dodged a
listeners.
bullet.
Would have taken a turn. This podcast.
I
would
told
have
a couple
sharp left,
stories this
sharp
week,
left.
and Natalie was like, oh my God.
Actually, my craziest Vegas story just happened yesterday.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so shows how wild my Vegas get.
I'm like, wait, what did we do yesterday? I can't remember.
Stayed up until 10 p.m.
It was crazy. No, we recently, which this probably segues us into, the next conversation, great, but we recently rebranded our podcast. We got new cover art. So we decided to do something fun since we're here for NFR, and we got, the mobile trucks that drive down the strip. We put our podcast on the side of it. So yesterday, we sat outside on the strip and waited for our faces to drive by. We probably waited for 40 minutes until the truck came. It flew by us, one way on the strip. We were in front of a light, and so it was green light, so it, just hauled by us. I was like, there we go, and we're running after us. So we crossed the road, book it to the other side to catch it on the other side. And I have the best video of Tara running after our faces.
I'm not
on
an
this
athlete.
truck.
I am not an athlete. And I am running with all I've got to catch this
And
truck.
it was just cool. It was turned to night, so the truck was lit up really well. And it was just cool to see our faces on the side of the truck.
Yeah, it was really cool. Really cool
That is
memory.
my
That was a great
craziest
story.
Vegas story. Yeah.
So much better than mine.
I love that. Thanks for playing that game. All right, the best segment.
Okay.
Future Discover Ag. I'm excited about it. I truly am. I mean, you have no idea I've been watching y'all for a couple years now, but what y'all are seeing, what y'all's vision is, what y'all want to do for the show, and what y'all want to do for y'all's fans of the show is very important to me, and for y'all to come under the Like a Farmer Media umbrella, I just think is exciting. But tell me why. Tell me why this is the move that y'all want to do. And
Yeah, I think we have some really big goals for Discover Ag. We always have. As we kind of joked that we had a crystal ball and could feel the momentum building around ag. And now that it's kind of here, that pendulum is swinging, towards ag. I feel so excited about 2025 for Discover Ag and taking it to new places, unconventional places. I think with ag, sometimes we can box ourselves in and get very tunnel vision of being within ag. And I think one of our big goals and excitement with working with you guys is you see that for us too of let's do different things. Let's break out. How can we bring ag in really unconventional places that people wouldn't expect? And I think that's really big for us.
Yeah, for an example, I keep thinking about, and so you can get started on this. You can put this on your to-do list, Pat, okay? On the podcast last year when it was Wimbledon, right? The honeydew melon, is a huge portion of the Wimbledon drinks. I'm why is there not someone there interviewing the farmers that grow that? Where did the honey melon come from? Talk to the chefs. That is where I want to see agriculture. I want to see agriculture where it shows up every single day, that we're missing the mark of sharing the stories about where the food came from and how it got there, and who played a role in it. And there are so many big mainstream events like that involve food, right? Every single day, that I'm where are the farmer voices? Where's the farmer representation? And so that's the core mission of Discover is how do we get that highlighted and shared?
And people want to know. We've talked about that. And that's the thing. You have these things that have this food icon moment.
Wimbledon strawberries.
Yeah, I was going to say Wimbledon is strawberries. It's the same thing. Honeydew is no.
It's tennis.
But it's the United States
the other one. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway.
Someone's going to fact check me. Wimbledon strawberries, sure. The other one's honey melon. U.S. Open.
U.S. Open. Yep.
Sorry.
But either way, people do want to know right now where their food comes from. So why not give them that content, and in where they're already at? We're not asking them to go out to the farm. You're at Wimbledon, cool. Here's the farmer that grew those strawberries.
And I do think going back to with conversation we've had a couple different times now about social media and misinformation, and I do think consumers are getting to the point where they're we want to hear it actually from the source. There's been a lot of people. That was part of the origin story of Discover Ag is we were seeing agriculture talked about in the New York Times. Farmer wasn't interviewed, and it certainly wasn't written by a farmer. So where's the perspective? Because it's covering an agriculture topic, right? So where is the lens of agriculture? And it wasn't there. And so that's what Tara and I were well, shoot, we'll cover it, And so I think people are getting to the point where they're we want it from the source, So I think there are going to be more and more people coming to farmers and ranchers with this movement, wanting to know from them their opinions about food. So.
And I think they're going to be coming to our shows to get that information. And so think about the food. We're trying to, if a consumer thinks their food is coming from the grocery store, we're going beyond the grocery store to the farmer, to where the dirt that grew that food. Think about sports. Let's use Augusta National, the Masters for an example. People think it stops at Augusta National. No, it goes to the farmers that grew the azaleas and all the flowers that are at the Masters or on the football field, the grass is on the football field. Think about country music. They're just looking at a Riley Green or a Parker McCollum. Well, let's go back to where they came from, the farms that they were raised on. Like, we need to open up the layers to really figure out whether it's food, whether it's sports, whether it's country music, on what it is. And I'm excited. I really am.
I was going to say, we're primed and ready to go.
I love it.
It's an exciting time. Like, anyone in agriculture, like, get excited. I think it's going to be a wild ride.
What do y'all think when you think about agriculture and you think about pop culture and just merging those together? What are two big things that y'all really want to shed light on?
Oh, man. Can we boot that question? Just kidding. Can we get a 5-minute break, regroup? Just kidding.
Like, what's the number one misinformed thing that people are even watching right now?
Oh, well, right now, I mean, I would say anything in the food movement right now is a lot of Maha conversation. So make America healthy again, like, not to bring politics. It's so funny. I just listened to Dale Brisby on here, and you guys, we don't talk politics. Then you guys talk for 20 minutes on politics.
20 minutes.
Which we will not do right now, but I'm going to say not to bring politics in it. But just being in a election year, it's hard to avoid Maha, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's kind of right now where, like, anything talking about food, that's trending right now. Like, we covered a lot on the podcast.
Yeah.
What do y'all think, being a female coming from Texas, the new Secretary of Ag?
Yeah.
How do y'all feel about her?
I thought you were asking us.
No.
Like, coming from Texas, I'm like, he forgot where we were.
Nobody's from Texas?
You know what? Natalie recently on the podcast said I lived in Arizona. She did it twice. I was like, you've been to my house.
Listen, I couldn't remember where the booth number was, let alone.
Yeah, that's not that surprising.
Let's not let Natalie be in charge of that. No, actually, I think we're both excited. There's not a ton of information out there about her yet, so I think we both were hesitant to make too, like, strong of claims. But, like, she's from an ag background. She went to an ag college. She is a super intelligent woman with, degrees and running companies to back it up. And we also had the conversation, what qualifies someone to be Secretary of Ag exactly? You're about to take on one of the biggest roles in our country. You're going to have an office in every single county in the United States that you have to support. Like, what job exactly prepares you for that? And I don't think there is one. And yet I think that her resume and where she's come from, I think I could see her being a really good moderate voice in agriculture.
Yeah, so this was another disco debrief we did on the podcast. We kind of covered so if you guys are listening and you want, like, the full thoughts on it, you could, scroll back to that episode. But yeah, I think we touched on what Tara said. There's information out there about her, but not from, like, her stance on agriculture. And I think it's interesting. I think, obviously there's a spectrum within agriculture of where you lie on your beliefs and kind of, conventional to quote-unquote conventional to quote-unquote regenerative, right? So I think there are people on kind of the polar ends of the spectrum that are probably maybe some disappointed in Brooke, some maybe excited. As Tara kind of ended, she's probably somewhere in the middle right now, which I think is probably a good thing for agriculture. Yeah. I think we need to, move forward in certain areas and make progress in maybe areas we aren't. And, there's certain parts of movements within the industry that need to be continued. But I think anytime you go too far, one side or the other on a spectrum, you kind of lose sight of it. For me personally, I'm a little bit kind of down the middle line person. So I don't know. I didn't have much of a opinion on her. There just wasn't much to base from. I think it's super cool. We covered on the podcast that she's only the second Secretary of Ag that's a female. Yeah, the first one was in 2005. They covered 2005, 2009. And that position's been held for 33 times now. So to only have a woman do it twice out of 33 times, I was like, it's really cool to see a female appointed that position. So I was really excited about that.
I'd agree with that. Last question. Dream guest to come on the show, who would it be?
Mike Rowe, just kidding.
Pat.
Yeah, we want to have you on.
Okay, that's easy. I can make that happen.
Oh,
dreams do come true. Gosh.
It's hard because we cover, this goes back to, it's hard to pick one person because we cover so many topics. I can think of pop culture people I would love to have on.
I was going to say, depending on what we're covering that week, there's probably someone that I'd be like, I would love to pick this person's brain on this topic. And then you get us to the next Thursday episode, and I'm like, they're old news. I don't want to talk to them anymore.
I want y'all's dream of just somebody on the pop culture space that just doesn't, that you're educating them, and you just want their opinion.
Oh, that's an interesting question.
It'd be fun to talk to Taylor Sheridan. I feel like
I thought you were going to say Taylor Swift, but yes, it would be fun to talk to Taylor Sheridan.
We actually, on the podcast last week, I was talking about, I would love to meet the writers of Yellowstone. Yeah. I feel like there's some epic monologues in Yellowstone where it is really rooted in some very interesting things about how, truths of the industry. And I'm just so curious, did the writers grow up in agriculture? Did they not? It's something that's very, I don't know, it's piqued my interest.
Absolutely. That'd be a great interview.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of controversial. It'd be fun to dive into, You know, there's some people I think that love what he's done for the Western industry, and I think there's some people that kind of are, you know, like, you're not portraying it right. You know, so I think it'd be fun to get his opinion on, like, you know.
Along that
That's
note,
a great one.
I feel like Bella Hadid is another person. Like, she just won, Rookie of the Year or whatever. I think she'd be another fantastic interview. I mean, she's lived completely different lives almost over the years of, like, being so immersed in, like, you know, fashion and all that comes with that, living in New York City, and now to have the spotlight put on her about, you know, Western culture, rodeo. I think it'd be another person that'd be just really interesting to hear their thoughts and opinions.
I love those two. I love y'all as well. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
You have no idea how excited I am. Seriously.
We are too.
We are too. We're excited for 2025 with you guys.
Love it. Let's kick ass. Let's kick 2025's
This is
ass.
like Powerpuff. We just all went in.
Powerpuff Girls. Yeah. And Pat.
And Pat. Appreciate that. Hey, I appreciate y'all watching. As always, continue to watch Like a Farmer. Every Wednesday, we're dropping new episodes on YouTube and wherever you listen to your audio podcast. You're going to be seeing a lot more of Natalie and Tara in the coming weeks. Love y'all.